called to the front. It's good for all of us. We are happy to have her here. We're happy to have Stephanie with us today. Stephanie has more than 17 years of experience in the public and nonprofit sectors in a variety of elected, appointed, and volunteer roles. She most recently completed more than 6 years of service as a Shawnee City Council member, including 3 as a council president. Prior to that role, well, thanks. Prior to that role, she served on the city's planning commission, and her professional background includes communications, government affairs, and business development work. Stephanie's community involvement includes serving as past president of the Shawnee Rotary Club and current Rotary District 5710 District Governor-elect, past chair of the Johnson County Theater in the Park Advisory Committee, volunteer big with Big Sisters and Big Brothers, and in 2018 she became a living kidney donor, and I think you all remember when she came and told us about that. Following that experience of the kidney donation, Stephanie joined the National Kidney Foundation's Regional Advisory Board to help advocate for increased organ donation. In 2018, she was honored to receive the Jean Amos Service of Self Award in recognition of her contributions. And this is just a few of the things that Stephanie does all over our county. So help me welcome Stephanie, and we're going to hear about her climb to Mount Kilimanjaro.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm excited to be here. As I mentioned, it's great to see so many friendly faces and new faces, and I look forward to next year's district governor getting to be back again. So sorry you'll be seeing me a lot. I promise not to speak every time. But today I was excited to join you to talk about a recent adventure I had in Africa. So I climbed Kilimanjaro at the beginning of March, and it actually is related to the kidney donation. There we go. So I climbed Kilimanjaro in March with a group called Kidney Donor Athletes. So this was a group that I really got exposed to and got involved in following my kidney donation, as Carol mentioned, in 2018. And so there's a lot I came in and talked to you all about that. They give you a lot of information when you donate about the technicalities of the health part of it and what your regular life is going to kind of look like after you donate, which is very much like your own life. So they talk to you a lot about that, but something they don't mention is kind of the endurance side of it. So I was a marathon runner and a triathlon participant, not great at that, but did a lot of endurance sports, and there's not a lot of conversation going on about whether that would be possible post-kidney donation. So a good friend of mine, Tracy, who is also a living donor, founded Kidney Donor Athletes, really to just share the story that not only when you donate your kidney, not only can you have a normal life and do all of the normal healthy things, but you can also take on the same endurance challenges and run marathons and do all of the same activities you could before. So that has been the mission of KDA, so I've been involved with them, just a baby little nonprofit, just getting off the ground since probably 2019, right after my donation. So COVID happened, and we were all kind of on a Zoom call together and talking about ways that we could work on increasing exposure and just letting people know what's possible as a living kidney donor. And someone had the idea, well, we should like go on a climb together. And someone said, well, let's climb Kilimanjaro. And we thought that was kind of ridiculous, and so we did it anyway. So we took that on, and I'll talk about Kilimanjaro here in a minute, just the mountain itself. But it ended up being a trip. It was about 2.5 weeks. All in, not all of that is the climb, but I went with 21 fellow living donors from across the United States and one from Canada. My roommate actually was from Canada. And we raised a little, at the time of the climb, we raised a little over $160,000 that's going to be put towards awareness and help with living donation. So one of the things they don't often talk about with living donation are your expenses aren't necessarily fully covered for the travel, and if you're donating out of town. I was lucky I donated at KU, so it's easy. So we want to help offset the costs and make living donation really as easy as possible for folks. So we were raising money. We got very fortunate. During the climb, Good Morning America and Washington Post picked up on our story on the mountain, which was really cool. It was like the closest we've ever been to celebrities, I think, in Tanzania. But that total has almost doubled because of Good Morning America. So really exciting. So I want to talk to you a little bit about Kilimanjaro. So you may have heard heard of it, it is in Tanzania. It is the tallest freestanding mountain in the world, so meaning it's not a part of a mountain chain. So it is a volcano, not an active volcano, thank goodness. That would make the climb harder, I think. And it is one of the 7 summits, so the tallest point on the African continent as well. So because it is a volcano, you can see it here. It's kind of a fascinating climb. So you go through 5 different ecological climates. So we began, as you'll see, the climb in the rainforest, and we ended walking amongst glaciers with picks on our boots. So really cool to see, tough at the top because of that volcanic screen. So a little bit, so it's a long flight, several long flights over to Tanzania, and I didn't know, I knew my friend Tracy who had founded the organization, but didn't know anyone else. Of the 22 of us who were going. So it was fun here, just meeting folks at the airport, on the plane. We connected in Chicago, and then I flew from Chicago over to Doha, and then Doha down to Kilimanjaro. So you can see, this is actually what we saw looking out of the plane window, which is terrifying. Like, we're gonna climb that. We can see it from the plane. So it was really cool to get our first glimpse of that. So when we got in, we actually stayed in Moshi, which is just a tiny little town that's at the base of Kilimanjaro. And we had a couple of days to start to acclimate, have a single beer that was at the pool, get to know each other and get ready for our climb. So you can see here, again, just a little bit of casual time. Up here we had, the day before we left, we did kind of a final trip briefing with our entire team. So you'll see later, but it's a huge undertaking. So climbing Kilimanjaro is the biggest sort of source of income for most of northern Tanzania's tourism and that sort of thing. So, and it takes a village, a literal village. We had 24 climbers in total. We have a couple spouses with us, and we had a staff of 109 with us at the mountain. So, so they split us into groups of 12 for climbing, and each group of 12 had 4 guides, 2 assistant guides, 3 cooks, 2 servers, and everyone else were porters or Sherpas, as you would know, carrying up all of the food and water that you would need, medical supplies, tents, chairs, tables. You'll see all of it, and they were just absolutely incredible. So one of the other things I got to carry is our duffel bag. So we took 2 packs up with us. This is my day pack here, and you can see, so one of the other climbers made tags of every one of their recipients, so our recipients could kind of go up the mountain with us. So this is Dan. He picked that picture going up the mountain with me. So we had a day pack that was probably around 25 pounds with water and a change of clothes and all of our snacks and a little first aid kit for ourselves. And then everything else went into a larger duffel bag, this bag here, that could be up to 33 pounds. So the day before our climb, we had the pre-trip briefing, we met all of our team, we met the guys we were going to be with, and then they came to your hotel room and walked you through literally every piece of clothing that you were going to put in the bag. And because it does this, we started at 90 degrees, we ended at negative 20 degrees, so there was a big swing there. So a lot of work went into getting everything packed and then put into the bag. So that happens the day before. And then we take off. So here was our full route. So we did the 8-day route on the Limosho Trail, which is the more scenic of the trails, the longer of the trails, so allows for a little more acclimation time for flatlanders like me who are not used to all of the altitude there. So you can see each night kind of the way we went. I'll talk a little bit about what each day looked like and show some pictures heading through the summit, which is a super long day, and then getting out on day 8. So this is kind of the overview. This is the whole team. I missed the memo about the shirt that day, I guess. But this is the whole team leaving the hotel and getting ready to head out to Kilimanjaro. So Kilimanjaro is also a national park, which was incredible. I'd never been to that part of Africa before, and it was about an hour bus ride, and the bus was stopped several times for herds of zebras that came through. We saw elephants, we saw giraffes, all sorts of wildlife on the perimeter of the park as we were coming in. So just a super surreal experience walking into all of that day. So the whole team. This is what day 1 officially looked like. So we left the hotel after that photo at about 9 a.m. Again, a couple of hours to get over, get checked in at the park and pay all the permits and all of that good stuff. And so our starting elevation when we hit the trailhead was 6,500 feet, and then we ended that day at about 9,100. It was a fun rainforest day. So you'll see in the pictures what it looks like, very green, So we kicked it off with lunch. We had this incredible team, so like I said, each group had 3 cooks, and they were cooking on like a little pop-up grill and like a George Foreman grill. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. But lots of fresh fruits and vegetables. We had actually, I think almost half of our group, 11 or 12 vegans in the group, a couple people who did not eat gluten, a few meat eaters like me, and they accommodated everyone. So it was just a great spread, great team there. As you can see the start, so they're unloading our gear, we have lunch, and then we leave for the trail. So this was at the gate. I found the shirt by then, and so so we left, and it was probably just 3 or 4 hours hiking through the rainforest. So this day was weird. There are monkeys all over the place, and they act kind of like stray cats. So they, like at one point, one jumped on my pack, and they're trying to get it open to get food. I'm terrified of monkeys, so this was like my personal hell that afternoon. But they were everywhere, and so they were fun, and they were all around camp. And you could see them and hear them all night long. So this is what our first camp looked like. You can see tents here. Everyone did have a tent mate. As I mentioned, mine was from Vancouver, Canada. Lucy is her name. She had done 15 Ironman competitions before she came in. So she was a character. But this is what it looked like every day. So every day they had the tent set up, and they would have your duffel bags in front of it. So when you got to camp, you would unpack and put out your sleeping pad and sleeping bag and all of that stuff and get set up. And then they would have what they called like snack time. So we had popcorn and some hot tea. This was kind of in the mess hall tent that they set up every day. So they would set up our individual tents and then a big group tent where we would all hang out and have all of our meals, carry all that stuff up. So on this side you'll see this was our daily health check. So we actually did this twice a day. This happened at snack time and at breakfast. And they would go through and ask you all sorts of health questions as a group. So you got to know each other very well. So you can see up there some pretty interesting questions, like when was the last time you peed, when was the last time you pooped, which you're talking to strangers about all day. So you learn a lot about each other right away. So that happened twice a day. They also check your oxygen level, your pulse, all that stuff. They want to make sure that the altitude is not impacting you too much and you can keep moving forward.